All right, hey guys, what's up? This is Ryan with Ethereal Metal Webzine, and I'm here today with Ambre of Xandria. Ambre, thank you so much for taking the time to chat today. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you. And you?
Good, I'm doing really well, thanks. Thank you again for today.
You're
I wanted
welcome.
to start off with the past 3 years with all the craziness that was brought on by the global pandemic. How have you all been doing?
Yeah, it made the whole process of producing that album a little bit slower. So of course we were getting a little bit impatient. A lot of things that we could not do for it, so we had to wait. But at the same time, it gave us the chance to take our time and to really, really focus on each song and making them as perfect for us as we wanted to. So it's been fine.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. So having been listening to metal since you were around 11 and having been
hmm
singing in musicals and choirs, what kind of music did you mostly hear while you were growing up before discovering metal?
Oh, that's a good question. Mostly pop and Greek music, pop Greek music, because
Okay.
being half Greek, my father was always listening to Greek music, and I grew up loving, yeah, pop Greek music and pop in general, and actually a lot of rock too. Before metal, I was into indie rock, British rock especially. Um, yeah, like Queen of the Stone Age, Franz Ferdinand, those kind of bands. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's great. And with your background in choir and musicals, at what point did you realize that you could also use aggressive metal vocals and death metal growls and all of that?
Oh yeah, that was much later actually. I mean, it's not that recent, but that was much later. When discovering metal, um, I just loved it so much when discovering more aggressive metal, meaning that I started with symphonic metal, with Nightwish and with Temptation,
Of
and
course,
then I,
yeah.
I quickly, yeah, and then I quickly moved on to more Cradle of Filth, Dimmu Borgir, which I was fascinated by. Um, so I started to be really interested in that kind of aggressive vocals. And after some time, I just tried it myself, especially when listening to Amorphis. Then later Arch Enemy also.
Of
And
course,
yeah,
yeah.
I just tried it myself and it just worked.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
perfected
Cradle
it
of Filth.
later.
Cradle of Filth I saw years ago in person. They're really phenomenal to see live. They put on a great show.
Yes, I
Um,
love this band since
yeah,
forever
absolutely.
now.
And do your harsh vocals ever interfere with your vocal lessons that you still take?
No, I perfect many techniques of vocal harsh vocals as well with my vocal coach because I like to discover other techniques and implement them into my own technique. I like to be as diverse as possible, so I love learning new things and trying new colors and different techniques. And yeah, so I'm still actually working on this.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So switching gears a little bit, I wanted to ask you about your time with Fragment Soul. How did this come
Mhm.
about? Did you know them in the past? And how were the shows that you did with them?
Oh, interesting. I never got that question so far. Yeah, it's through actually Anders from Draconian.
Yep.
We knew each other, and he showed my work to Fragment Soul, which he's friends with, the bass player. And yeah, actually we get really along and we actually kind of started a project together, which is not released and might take some time still, with the bass player of Fragment Soul and Anders from Draconian. But so they needed a guest singer for those shows. So they asked me after I sent them demos for that project we had together. And yeah, it was amazing. We are all friends and I have the best memories from it.
before we talk about the new album, I wanted to ask, in May of 22, Reborn was released, and it was announced that you were going to be the new lead singer for Xandria.
Hmm.
Knowing Reborn would not only be the first release with you as singer, but also as an incredibly fitting sentiment that the band has been reborn. How does it feel to be a part of the band, and how have the fans been reacting to you live so far?
Yeah, it's wonderful, really. I'm very grateful and lucky to be here. And yeah, it was a really welcoming feedback. And actually, yeah, the fans were really surprised that it worked so well with the classical older songs and even older songs. Especially, they were especially happy when I was singing the beginning era with Lisa because our voices are a little bit closer, and they liked how I was bringing my own personality to it. So yeah, it has been
That's
great.
great. Nice. Okay. And I know you've known the band for quite some time, and when they
Mm-hmm.
took a break, you and Marco started working on a possible project, but he
Yeah.
was also already working on new material for Zandria as well. Um,
Yes.
Throughout this creative process, some of that material found itself on the new Zandria album. Do you still foresee working on this separate project down the road, or do you think this new chapter with the band will allow those creative processes to be stemmed completely into Zandria?
That's an amazing question. Yeah, I really think now that we can incorporate all of those creative ideas that are not only symphonic metal. That's why we did that in the first place. We started with
Right.
a damn black metal, symphonic black metal song, but we discovered a way of putting that in Xandria. You can hear in the album that there's even some Dimmu Borgir parts, and so we
Absolutely.
really
Yeah.
unleashed everything we wanted on that album, making it very diverse and quite unique. I think. I just hope people will like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so on to the new record, The Wonder Still Awaiting. First, I
Hmm.
have to say I've been through it about 4 or 5 times now, and it's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. It is
Oh, thank you.
it is by far the strongest work that Zandria has, put
Wow,
out ever, and I
that's
think
amazing
everyone
to
is going
hear.
to absolutely love it.
Thank you.
So it's releasing in just 10 days on February 3rd via Napalm Records. Um,
Yes.
and so what can you tell us about the writing process?
Yeah, so it started quite some time ago now. And we had a lot of time to focus on it, and we did not have in the beginning um a business plan for it. So meaning that we didn't think, okay, we're gonna release this and so many songs and do this. No, we're gonna write music how we like it and how we want it. And Marco wrote all the songs. It's homemade. I was just sitting with him a lot of the times to give feedback, some ideas, and things I would imagine in some songs. And yeah, it has been very smooth, and we took our time to make them, like I said, as perfect as possible for our own feelings. We really wanted to, yeah, to love it first. It was very important, so we could be, yeah, very happy about it. And yeah, that was really important for us.
Absolutely. That's great. So with a 40-piece classical choir, authentic Celtic instruments, beautiful violin and cello from Subway to Sally's Ali Storch, and the Bulgarian National Radio Children's Choir, this album has marked the first time Zandria has had a collaboration of this magnitude. What was it like recording with all of these artists?
Yeah, that was, it felt like it was necessary to give it was worth it to give it that more organic feeling from real instruments and a big
Sure.
choir to really make it as big as possible and epic. It was really great. It's a lot of things came easily, and it was really smooth, and it was wonderful to see the recording of the choir, 40 people singing, even the children's choir. There was amazing moments.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it
that's
was
awesome.
really
That must have
great.
been a great experience. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Opening the album is an intense track called Two Worlds, which has
Hmm.
a massive and epic intro leading into an all out sonic assault before bringing it down for the verse, and then continuously just sonically grows throughout the remainder of the track. seemingly about literally two worlds, one about mankind showing love, tolerance, and acceptance, and the other about rulers controlling and technology that are taking over.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about a deeper look into the meaning of this song?
Yeah, that song, which will be our new single, that will come out in 1 week now, and a new video. We thought it was
Nice.
necessary, like we thought it was really good choice because it's representing the album very well, meaning that all the elements that are throughout the album are in that song, and also meaning wise with the lyrics and the concept, it fits what is going on throughout the album in the lyrics and the artwork also, that division of two kind of worlds, the wonders up there and the more down to earth and negative, with going back to ruins from the futuristic civilization,
Yeah.
and yeah, a backward evolution kind of. So yeah, it's very much into the album, that kind of concept of, if we do things right and in a respectful way and caring and being open-minded and accepting, then we can create and foresee wonders in the world still. But at the same time, if we don't, then we leave it to the extremist thinking people, and yeah, all the negative things, the technology also being used for more negative things. So yeah, it's very much in the album, that
Yeah,
contrast.
absolutely. And that whole kind of overarching theme is very present throughout the entire album, and it takes you on a
Yes.
really, really powerful journey. So I think that that's going to be really well received when it's heard.
Thank you.
You Will Never Be Our God, a multifaceted track featuring Ralph Sheepers of Primal Fear. This track kind of gives off an Arch Enemy vibe with some death metal growls throughout. What was the inspiration behind this track?
Yeah, it's funny. It started, I think Marco had a more Judas Priest kind of classic metal inspiration and intention to it, and we realized that when he wrote the intro, we were like, huh, that's also sounding like Arch Enemy. And we just
Yeah.
came to the
Yeah,
conclusion that because Arch Enemy is also inspired by classic metal from
of
the
course.
80s,
Yeah.
and have that classic riffing in it. So that's why it all came together. But yeah, it was really interesting that we knew that people would think of Arch Enemy immediately in the beginning, even though it wasn't the intention right away. But that made it great, you know? It's
Absolutely, of
a great
course.
band
Yeah, yeah.
nowadays.
But you
Yeah.
can absolutely pick up the classic vibes as well that are going on within it. So that's really
Yeah,
cool.
that's good.
Yeah. So while of course the entire album stands out to me as powerful, massive, and epic, there are some more intimate and vulnerable moments on the album as well. Um,
Hmm.
Your Stories I'll Remember starts off with just keys, strings, some Celtic pipes, and whistles. Then your vocals come in, which are absolutely beautiful.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
This song builds with rhythmic heaviness throughout, increasing intensity with the choir coming in and more intense strings. A song seemingly about loss. Can you tell us a little bit more about the inspiration?
Yeah, I think that song is very personal to Marco. It's about one family member that he lost, so there's a
Oh,
lot of
wow.
emotion into it. Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
intense for me to sing it. Also, I can feel it, so I have to be a little bit, I'm not gonna say professional, but you know, like plug the emotion, because it's really, it really works with the music itself. Both together, the lyrics and the music make it very emotional.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's very palpable when you're listening to that song.
That's
I
great.
actually probably just repeated that song like 3 times last night.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's nice to
and
hear that.
yeah, the emotion throughout that entire track is absolutely palpable.
Wow,
And I'm
great.
really sorry for the loss that he had as well. That's really,
Yeah, I
you
will
know,
tell him.
yeah,
Yeah.
please. Um, So the Maiden and the Child, as well as Asteria, are probably two of my favorite tracks on the album, and Asteria is
Oh
an
wow.
epic close to the album. These tracks are massive. Asteria sees some lyrics that were written by you in Greek, which
Yes.
translates to "The secrets of the world are in our heritage." What can you tell us about the deeper meaning behind this track and behind your lyrics?
Very interesting question. Yeah, that song, I wrote the whole lyrics for it, and so I just thought at some point, I think, why not putting a little bit of Greek because it works with it. So I'm talking about war refugees, and
Yeah,
especially in the more Arabian countries, as a lot of things happen in the recent years. And since a long time now. So for me, putting some Greek language was a way of connecting it a little bit more with the people, meaning that I haven't been going through that at all, but
sure.
it's just kind of connecting it to a country to another one that is not necessarily your northern politically and economically big countries. So I wanted to make it a little bit more vulnerable by that and a little bit more mystical to bring the mystery of it to another level, even because I knew that people would not understand, but they will be a bit curious about it, and it will just trigger your ears, you know?
Absolutely. And it does. It absolutely does. Um,
Great.
so the album doesn't just do one thing over and over again, but rather has an incredible mix of diversity and talent. Tracks
Mhm.
like Scars are reminiscent of movie theme, while Illusion is their name sees a more power metal approach. What does it
Yeah.
mean to you to have this kind of freedom while writing?
That's an amazing question. Yeah, this is very important. I could never have a plan, or I would not want to say, okay, we write an album that needs to be only this and only have those elements in all the songs. Because what I love in music first is diversity. I listen
Right.
many different styles of metal and non-metal, and it's just a natural thing to me when listening beginnings of ideas for a song, that not only symphonic metal lines elements are going to come to my mind. I'm going to think, damn it, a doom part will work so well there, or a death metal riff with some growls would work so well there. So I love that we had the freedom of it. Yeah, and that it made in the end such a diverse album. Maybe not everyone is gonna like that it's so diverse, but I really love this, and it will always be important. And I know for Marco also
Absolutely.
to be free.
No, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's really awesome.
Thank you.
So Lucas Noble is responsible for the incredible orchestration. What was it like working with him?
Wow, he is fantastic. I like that kind of genius, you know, like you can say it. It's incredible. He
Yeah.
was working very fast, and yeah, once he understood the vision of the album, and Marco and him discussed, and in the end, I mean, in the middle of it, he was really fast and nailing it exactly what we wanted, and we were imagining the song, and even better, I'm gonna say, even better.
Wow, that's great.
Amazing.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So switching gears again, what are your plans for a headlining tour in support of the new album? And will that potentially see a tour in North America as well?
For now, there's no plan. We have something in April that is not been announced yet, so I don't want to spoil it in case it doesn't happen, because
Okay.
somehow it's very complicated at the moment with tours. A lot of get canceled, so I don't want to get
Yeah,
ahead of
absolutely.
myself, but it will be as a special guest, but it will be an amazing package. Everyone will be happy about it. I know it. But for headlining for now, it's in the work. It's in the work, and I hope this year it can still happen. I really hope, and especially for the US, I really would love. If it's not this year, it will be next year for the
That's great.
US for
Yeah, we would
sure.
love to have you guys back. That would be
Me
great.
too. Me
So
too.
Amba, thank you so much for taking the time to chat today.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, The Wonder Still Awaiting is an absolutely incredible journey. It's out February 3rd via Napalm Records. So if you haven't already, everyone listening, be sure to pre-order your copy. The link will be below in the article. Amber, thanks again so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was great.